Happy Mother's Day, everybody. It is May the 14th, 2023, Sunday. All right. So it all started for me when I met the man I'm still married to. I think it was like late 1980. We started to kind of go out 1981, and by May it sounds like we were talking about marriage. So it was pretty fast. I think I was 23, maybe he was 24. I can't quite remember, but I remember thinking that I'm getting to the age that I have to start thinking about what I'm going to do with my life. We were both in engineering school. The man I'm still married to, he was about a year ahead of me because I wasn't sure quite what I wanted to do through my college life, so I finally settled on engineering, but we had a lot of similar classes together, and that's how we met. I used to tutor him in math, and he supposedly said he was tutoring me in programming, but that's really something that he just kind of wants to believe. So, long and short of it, we got married after we both graduated. He graduated first, got a job in Fremont, Ohio at Whirlpool. Clyde, which is 7 miles up the road. And I finished, I believe that was May 1981. In August of 1982, I finished my degree, engineering. And then we married 2.5 weeks later. That was in September the 11th, 1982. Within a year, I believe, or close to it, I was pregnant with Timothy, who just turned 39 a couple days ago. And tell you, my eyes are really open about how different pregnancies can be. Unfortunately, I had what they called, I think it's called hyperemesis gravidarum, which just means chronic morning sickness, constantly in and out of the hospital, getting dehydrated, trying to control all the throwing up all the time, and I will tell you right now, it was hell. It was no fun, and it was horrible. The labor and the birth and everything after that was horrible. Timothy had who's the person snoring on the couch in the background, he had colic. He screamed for 3 months and didn't any sleep, and he was a beautiful baby. He looked just like me, the spinning image of me. He's a beautiful grown man now, snoring on the couch here in Southern California, because we're here visiting my family, by the way. And then soon after that, not too long after that, I don't know what I was thinking, but I got pregnant again with Mark, who's 23 months younger, and that was a little bit easier, but I was still really sick. And then I had John 2 years later, and that's when I was told, frankly, with my health during pregnancies, I better quit. That was it. Quit. You have 3 kids, you are done. You're 30 years old, you could barely walk, you couldn't keep any food down, you had to hire somebody to take care of you and the kids. My parents came down to take care of me, and I was actually thinner with John when I went into labor than I was before I even got pregnant. So I said, that's fine. So we tried birth control. And I can tell you, I got pregnant again very quickly, and that was a molar pregnancy, which means there was conception, but it grew into like a tumor that could break off and become cancerous. So it was a horrible miscarriage. Yes, this is not a feel-good story, let me tell you about pregnancy. And then once again, don't get pregnant. This is not good for you or anybody else. So I said, yes, I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll reconsider quite a few years down the road. Maybe medical technology would have kept up with the issues I had. And sure enough, after I said that to my doctor, the very next week I was calling and I was pregnant with Matthew. That's right here. Yes.
Hi.
He said, hi, the one behind the camera. And I will have to say, Matthew, I was not thrilled. And I don't know how I could have been getting pregnant because we kept using birth control. That was supposed to be 99% sure. And that was the diaphragm. And they kept insisting that, oh, it's going to work. It's going to work. He said,
Was that a good pregnancy?
you were a little bit better, but I was not happy. And I learned at that time how to take off the record all the Dramamine and the Bonine and everything else to control the nauseous, which at that time, because of the scare of lawsuits, there apparently was something on the market that was supposed to cause birth defects that helped women control all the throwing up, and they took it off the market and was giving nothing to women whatsoever. They just expected us to just dehydrate, lose like 15 pounds in 2 weeks, and then they would put us in the hospital, pump up our veins, only to go back home and start it all over again. And you can imagine how hard that was with the husband working and having young kids already. It was really, really difficult. And there was talk, Matthew, to be very truthful, that maybe it would have been a good idea to have an abortion. Of course, I would never do that. Yes, you are here now, Matthew. But it was a little bit easier. And the ironic part about this is that after I had you, your dad and I used more natural family planning, and that actually worked so much better than all the artificial things that I was taking. I tried the pill, and that simulates pregnancy, and of course I went back to feeling like I was going to throw up all the time and getting dizzy. The diaphragm apparently is not 99% proof because I kept getting pregnant. They kept saying operator error, but what's the point, right? And so for about 5.5 years, I actually did not get pregnant. At that time, I went to work as an engineer. I went and got my master's, and I was on my way for my PhD in engineering, and lo and behold, I was almost 40, and I got pregnant with David. But at least there was 5.5 years, okay? At least we had that break. And once again, I had to stop everything. You were about 5.5 years old. Your next brother up, John, was 7.5. The next one up, Mark, was 9.5, right? And then Timothy would have been 11.5. So the three older ones, they were in school full time, and they can kind of take care of themselves. Matthew, you went to kindergarten that you had all day.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 days 1 week and 3 days the next, so that I had a little bit of relief that I didn't have kids running around. And because you were 5.5, I just took my chances that as long as I put all the Barbie VCR tapes, is that what they call VR, those tapes in the VCR machine?
No, I remember watching Star Wars, not Barbie.
Not Barbie, you watched Barney a lot.
Oh, Barney, okay.
And then the only time you needed help was when you wanted to cook noodles in the microwave or in the bathroom, but I could just lay in bed, bury my head. I remember O.J. Simpson trial was on it, and I could hear that in the background. But again, yeah, my pregnancy was really tough with David, and for some reason all the Dramamine world. And you got to keep in mind too, that stuff puts you to sleep. Not only does it help supposedly alleviate the nauseous, throwing up and spitting up, it actually works by just putting you asleep. So when you're asleep, you're not throwing up, hopefully. So and then we had David, and then we were living in Stevensville, Michigan at that time. Then we moved back to Clyde, Ohio. I forgot to mention we had moved away for a while. I think you were only about a couple months when you moved to Stevensville, Michigan, and then we moved back to Clyde, Ohio, when David was about 15 months. And sadly, I had 2 more miscarriages after that. I was 41 and 46. By that time, of course, I was in my 40s, and it would be difficult to carry a child. It was difficult to carry a child when I was in my 20s and 30s. So there are 5 sons. The oldest is Timothy. He's 39 years old. Mark is 37, John is 35, Matthew here is 33, and David is 27. And interesting trivia fact is that 4 of the 5 sons were born in April, between April the 9th and April the 21st. my husband, Tom, the father of all these beautiful children, his birthday's April the 17th, and actually Timothy was supposed to be born in late April, but he was 2 weeks late, and he came May the 11th, which is also the same birthday as one of my grandsons, Reese Paul, Mark's son in Columbus. So currently right now we also have 4 grandchildren. Ella is 11, Isaiah is 9. I'm trying to think this, Reese Paul again, he just turned 6. Hattie, she just turned 3 not too long ago in March. And there you go. My birthday's October the 11th. I have 2 beautiful daughter-in-laws, and their birthdays are May the 16th and September the 12th. So we have clusters in birthdays, as you can see, but people keep asking me, did you plan to have just about all your kids' birthdays in April? I said, no one in their right mind would ever plan to have all the kids in April. It just happened that way, that between April the 9th and April the 21st, 4 out of the 5 boys had birthdays, and also my husband is April the 17th. And one cute little funny story is that my mother mentioned that all the actual days of the birthdays, we have April the 9th, April the 10th, April the 9th is Mark's, April 10th is Matthew's, and then goes May the 11th with this, which is Timothy's. Then it's April the 12th, which is John. And then when I was carrying David, the doctor said, you know what we could do? Because a lot of doctors, I think, wants to schedule inductions. It helps them with their schedule. They said, you know what we could do? We can do induction April the 8th or the 13th. So all the days would either be 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12, or 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I looked at him and said, this is not a game. This is not funny. No, we're going to let Mother Nature take her course. And David came April the 21st. And that's the story of my motherhood.